Ember here, and welcome back to a new video. And in this one, we have some great set news, and that is that the glory of Team Rocket has been officially revealed, which will of course feature Team Rocket's Mewtwo EX, which is great. So yeah, Japan's long-awaited The Glory of Team Rocket has been officially revealed, and it will release on April 18th in Japan. So we will actually see like all of these cards very soon. Like I'm recording this on the 21st of March, so yeah, honestly, in the next few weeks, we will just see all of this set, which is great. So, the set will feature the return of Team Rocket's Pokemon, as predicted by PokeBeach. All of them will be named Team Rocket's such and such, but will have different trainer icons on the cards, such as Giovanni or Proton, which I'm assuming are going to be like the owners of said Pokemon. All of them, however, will share the R symbol to represent Team Rocket, of course. So, the Glory of Team Rocket will contain a whopping 98 cards, which is honestly more than I thought actually originally, so that's cool in its main set, and we should also see around 130 cards after secret rares. So yeah, we first discovered the set's trademark a whopping take two 9 months ago, back in June 2024. I think I did a video actually talking about this, but yeah, it was kind of like revealed at Worlds again more officially, but yeah, it's been a long time coming basically. However, we will see these cards in our English set, Destined Rivals, on May 30th. So not actually that long as well between this releasing in Japan on like April 18th and then of course it releasing on May 30th the following month. So, kind of a short release window really, to be honest. But yeah, as an update, TBCI would have normally revealed Destined Rivals today. Instead, it seems Pocket's Shiny Revelry set was revealed in its place due to its imminent release on March 28th. I mean, that makes sense. It's only a week away. But we will definitely see Destined Rivals revealed officially like next week with like booster pack artwork and other stuff like that, basically. So that's really cool. But yeah, on to the actual new cards. We have a Team Rocket's Spidops line, which is a grass type, which is really cool. Just for those of you who are unsure basically about, or like still unsure about how the owner's mechanic works, basically, if for example you want to play a Spidops in GLC, you would get away with running a grass type Spidops in GLC as well as a Team Rocket Spidops. It's weird, but because it has a different name, it counts as technically two different versions of Spidops. So you can play both if you really wanted to, which is cool. So yeah, this Spidops is honestly not that bad actually. We might actually finally see a good Spidops used in the TCG, other than like the EX, I guess, was kind of niche. If this image wants to load, please. There we go. So it has the ability Charge Up, which says, once in your turn, you may attach a basic energy from your discard pile to this Pokemon. Okay, that's nice. And then Rocket Rush for Grass and a Colorless will do 30 damage for each of your Team Rocket's Pokemon in play. So realistically, you're only doing that, like, what, 150, 180? Not particularly great. You will hit for weakness on Charizard, though. But in all honesty, I think this will be a decent partner, and probably the best partner, actually, for Team Rocket's Mewtwo EX. So to kick things off, this guy has 280 HP, which is, yeah, it's quite a lot for a two-prize basic Pokemon. Has the ability Power Saver, which says this Pokemon can't attack unless you have 4 or more Team Rocket's Pokemon in play, which is not a problem because you'll probably just want to flood the board with Team Rocket Spidops anyhow. And it has the attack Deletion Sphere, which for 2 Psychic and a Colorless does 160, and you may discard up to 2 energy from your bench Pokemon, and you do 60 more damage for each card discarded in this way. So if you discard 1 energy, you can do 220, which is not enough to KO Terrapagos, which is infuriating because I think Terrabox is going to be really good post-rotation. But aside from that, you'll still be able to KO things like Pheasantipity and, what's the other one called? Ogapon, there we go. So you can get, fairly playable Pokemon with this, but you will have to include another 10 damage modifier or, just discard 2 energy if you want to KO the likes of Terrapagos. Because if you do discard 2 energy, you can reach 280, which is, yeah, a sizable amount. You might want to evolve like Defiance Band and Karate Master or Black Belt, I think it's called, if you want to KO stuff like Charizard, I guess. But aside from that, it's still a lot of damage for 3 energy. But yeah, we kind of have Spidops to help accelerate energy, and then we can use like Energy Switch and things. But I mean, I may as well like scroll all the way down to the best way of like powering this guy up, and that is with Team Rocket's Energy, which can only be attached to Team Rocket's Pokemon. So yeah, it's definitely a one-sided buff here. But as long as this card is attached to a Pokemon, it provides 2 in any combination of Psychic Energy and Dark Energy. So I don't think we've actually seen any Dark Pokemon in this card reveal. Okay, no, we haven't. So That's cool. We'll probably see like a dark type Team Rocket EX then. But yeah, this Team Rocket's Mewtwo, of course, needs two Psychic and a Colorless. So one Team Rocket's energy plus a basic Dark Energy or something, plus well, I don't like energy switch. I mean, you could just like energy switch energy off the Spidops, but that might get a bit awkward and clunky. But honestly, this seems fairly strong. It's eerily similar though to the Reshiram and Zekrom, I think it was, tag team that everyone kind of like hyped up. That had a stage one that could accelerate an energy to itself from the discard pile. It is eerily similar to that deck, and that deck had like zero impact on the format, but it's a very different climate. That was a three prizer. This is a two prizer. This seems very easy to get going. So, like, I'm cautiously optimistic this could be a really strong archetype, but, just something to bear in mind because it is eerily similar to the Reshiram archetype from the Sun and Moon era that just, yeah, ended up flopping. If you're around in the Sun and Moon era, you'll know what I'm talking about. But yeah, that was a pretty big disaster on all accounts. But honestly, as it stands, I think this will see play. Like, this seems pretty decent. So that's cool. Also got a new Persian line. The Meowth artwork is adorable. I will kind of like put into question the way Giovanni looks here. He's definitely not very threatening at all, and Meowth kind of looks like he's been plastered onto the artwork. Is that just me? But yeah, it's still a nice artwork though. Has the attack Catnab? Okay, this is pretty mediocre, but it's still a 70 HP evolving basics. That's good to know for Buddy Buddy Puffin. Yeah, Team Rocket's Persian EX, 260 HP is a bit on the low end for a stage 1 EX, but does have the very fun attack Haughty Orders, which says your opponent reveals the top 10 cards of their deck, and you may choose an attack from a Pokemon you find there and use it as this attack, and then your opponent just shuffles the other cards back in. I think this is interesting. I would like it in a way if this was just like you get to discard that Pokemon as well, like Persian gets to grab it and then, KO it or something. But at the same time, I think this is a very fun attack to build a deck around. Like you could end up discarding things like a Charizard or an Ochalodon or a Dragapult. And at that point, you're doing it for two colors. And also, because it is two colors, you can just use Team Rocket's energy to pay for this, which is really cool. So I do like that aspect about it, especially when the megas come around, in like later on in this year. They have some pretty crazy attacks that you'll want to copy. So I think Persian has a bright future. It's just one of those decks that's going to take a bit of work really to get good. But aside from that, it seems like a lot of fun. Then we have Team Rocket's Porygon, which is discard a card from your hand and discard a card from your opponent's hand, which is quite handy for the synergy of both the Porygon 2 and Porygon Z. Because Porygon 2, you probably will never want to attack with this unless you have a reverse energy on it. But it does 20 damage for each supporter card in your discard pile with Team Rocket in its name. And then this one does 20 damage for each supporter card in your discard pile with Team Rocket in its name, but it's for two colors. So this is a lot more payable than this one. And it also just means you can use Team Rocket energy. And you can also just use reverse energy if you really wanted to. So that's cool. This also has the ability Reconstitute, which says you must discard two cards from your hand in order to use this ability. Then you draw a card. So it's basically just like a reverse trade in a way. But you want it to be this way because it's going to allow you to discard these supporters, which I'm assuming we might see like a fourth supporter maybe, or this could be it. But yeah, three supporters. I'd imagine we'd see at least four, but maybe it's just the three of them. And then you do 20 damage for each supporter card discarded this way, or like in your discard pile. So that's kind of cool. I think the damage modifier is a wee bit too low to be working with here. I would love to see some kind of proper damage mod for this Pokemon because, like, yeah, you can find the supporters very easily with this very busted item card. That's quite literally just search your deck for one of these supporters and put it into your hand, which is amazing. If you're ever thinking about running these supporters, then, for sure you would run the receiver. So that's cool. It's like got a built-in engine and everything, but in all honesty, I don't think this card is like super crazy or anything. Like the damage, it's a 20 damage modifier in an age where Pokemon have 330 HP. Just look at what was it, United Wings. No one really talks about United Wings anymore, and kind of for good reason. And this is a stage 2 as well, so we have to factor that in as well. But yeah, I do have some hope that this could be a very fun deck, but we'll just have to see really. But yeah, we also have Team Rocket's Receiver. Search your deck for a supporter card with Rocket in its name, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Very, very crazy card if you just want to play these supporters. I will go out on a limb and say I do think most of these are pretty good. So if you're playing a Team Rockets deck, then, you'd play the Team Rocket supporters with Team Rocket's Receiver. But yeah, Team Rocket's Ariana says draw cards until you have 5 cards in your hand, and if all of your Pokemon in play are Rocket's Pokemon, draw cards until you have 8 instead, which is really cool. So it's definitely a good draw engine for Mewtwo. So if you don't want to use things like Pheasantipity or like I guess the Shaman that would protect your Spidops from being sniped, then of course you could just play nothing but Spidops, Mewtwo, and maybe some other support Pokemon that reveal, and then you can just use Ariana as like your main draw engine, I guess. Like it seems pretty good, right? Also got Team Rocket's Archer, which okay, this card is a wee bit scary, but you can only use it when one of your Team Rocket's Pokemon were KO'd during your opponent's last turn. Then you get to shuffle draw 5, which is not the best. It's not terrible either, but it is basically just a Shauna. However, your opponent also shuffles in and they get to draw 3, which is pretty mean, I will say that. So I do think this is pretty good. Like if you're playing the Mewtwo deck or like even the Porygon deck, I think you always run at least 2 or 3 of these, right? You know, like that is it's giving me major Marnie vibes, but slightly more niche because you can't just spam it every turn like you could with Marnie. Like I remember the days where you could like play Marnie turn 1 or something, or turn 1 going second, and that was rough. But yeah, Team Rocket's Archer I think is a pretty good supporter. Then we have a Guzma reprint. Yes, not really. It kind of is Guzma though. Team Rocket's Giovanni says switch your active Rockets Pokemon with one of your benched Team Rockets Pokemon, and if you do, then switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active. So it is Guzma. For those of you who don't know, Guzma was a supporter card in the Sun and Moon era. That was basically switch your active, one your bench, and then you also got to gust up one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So it's Guzma, but it has to be in a Team Rockets deck, basically. So that's kind of cool, I guess. Like it's a switch and boss all in one if you want it. But I suppose like Mewtwo is going to have some weird attack costs to work with. So there's definitely a world where you might just want to, yeah. Well, I suppose you'll have to promote an active Pokemon anyway. I was going to say, like, you could maybe promote as something like a Xatu and then use its ability and then play this and switch into a Mewtwo and Gust something, but you can't because you have to switch your active Rockets Pokemon. But it still seems like a very useful supporter, and we'll probably see play Mewtwo anyway, so that's kind of cool. We've also just haven't seen a lot of this set. Like, this is a lot of cards here, but you know, we've still got 98 cards total to look at. So, you know, we have to bear in mind that Giovanni could be really good later on. But yeah, I think the best card in the reveal here, though, is Team Rocket's Energy, just because it's a bit nuts, really. It's 2 in any combination of Psychic and Dark. I'm assuming that also just means it can just be 2 Psychic or 2 Dark. It'd be weird if it, you know, wasn't. But yeah, it also just looks really cool. I love the way this energy looks. But honestly, some very, very fun reveals. There's also going to be some accessories for Japan. I'm not sure if these are going to make it into the West. Hopefully they do, but you know, that'd be a shame if they didn't really. I would love the deck box actually. I think it's cool. But yeah, the original Team Rocket set released in 2000 and introduced Dark Pokemon. And they were Pokemon corrupted by Team Rocket, and as a result, Dark Pokemon had lower HP but higher attack power. Okay, so yeah, this is kind of like going into the history of Team Rocket and such in the TCG. Which if you're interested in, I'll leave a link to this article in the description of the video. But yeah, I don't want to spend too much time on this. As more of a focus on the actual card reveals themselves, which I'm really really excited for because like I just want more fun stuff to play. Basically, I'm not huge into the competitive scene right now. I might get back into it in a big way at some point, but I think for the most part, I just want to do the fun stuff. And also, this has fun implications for GLC, right? You know, you could run this Spidops in GLC if you really wanted to. If there's enough other grass type Pokemon for Team Rocket that are cool, you know, maybe you get to run like a Team Rockets package in GLC for different types. So not just grass, you know, there's like a Meowth. Maybe there'll be some other colorless ones that are good. Like, well, Team Rocket's probably going to kind of answer my own question, but you know, you might be capping at 60 damage with Control R, which is a bit rubbish, but you know, I'm sure there'll be ways to, you know, include these. Like, if you really wanted to play Team Rocket's Pokemon in GLC, then you could at least run one of each of these supporters' items and energy, which is cool. So, very, very cool set reveal. Really looking forward to playing these cards. We'll have to get some proxies made up to test out some IRL decks. And yes, remember, Power, let me know what you think about these cards down below. And yeah, thank you for watching.